British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, my name is Joe McHugh, and here are your 1:30 p.m. BCIT News headlines. The fall and Halloween season is upon us, and local magazine Vancouver's Awesome is hosting the first Kits Beach Pumpkin Patch this year. Our reporter, Bahar Garian, has more.
This year, Vancouver's Awesome magazine is pulling together a pumpkin patch directly on Kits Beach. The event is taking place on October 24th and is a great chance for the community to get together, and will be free to attend unless you would like to secure a pumpkin to take home. Matthew Blair is organizer and general manager of the magazine and tells us more about this event.
Yeah, we just thought it would be a neat idea to expose kind of the urban population to a patch that they didn't have to drive to a different community for. And we thought juxtaposing it against the beach would be really a neat setting. And certainly Evo Carshare agreed with us, and we partnered together to be able to host a short pumpkin patch on October 24th.
The pumpkin patch will be an amazing day for the community and for people to experience going to a pumpkin patch who may not have been able to drive far away to get to one. It is also happening at a scenic location right on Kits Beach and will happen rain or shine this year. Bahar Garian, BCIT News.
A new report is recommending the creation of a BC risk reduction framework specifically targeting youth suicide in the province. The report, commissioned by Chief Coroner Jatinder Badwani, says there's been little progress in understanding and reducing the risk of youth suicide after a review of 435 cases from 2019 to 2023. The review says suicide ranks second as the most likely cause of death for children and youth in BC, and the third most common cause for those between the ages of 19 and 29. The report also recommends better data collection on cases and updated training for medical professionals to include early identification, assessment, and follow-up. Now in Dawson's Creek, where a severe and prolonged drought has led to the declaration of a local state of emergency, Mayor Darcy Dober said in a statement that despite years of conservation, the ongoing drought has reached a point where the city's water supply can't meet community needs without taking emergency action. The statement says the declaration will allow the city to access resources and support from the province as it works to secure a temporary supplemental water resource and protect essential services. It says the state of emergency does not mean the city is out of water, but that it is acting now to prevent that from happening. The Federal Conservative Party is proposing changes to student financial assistance and a measure to boost housing production in an effort to improve job prospects for young people. Conservative MP Garnet Genouy warns the deepening youth unemployment crisis will affect young workers' career trajectories for the rest of their lives.
Fundamentally, this is an intolerable situation. The first job a young person gets is often their most important job because it sets them on a track to a successful lifelong career.
Unemployment rose to 14.7% for youth aged 15 to 24 in September, hitting a 15-year high outside the pandemic years. 72% of children worldwide experience cyber threats, according to the Global Cybersecurity Forum. Our reporter Kai Garcia has more on why it's important that children and youth receive education on the dangers of the internet.
Young children can be exposed to the internet through social media and gaming in this age of digital technology. At a young age, they might not be aware of the risks that it may bring. Cybersecurity expert Dr. Marian Ali Abadi explains why these kids are so prone to cyber attacks.
A lot of cyber attacks are happening based on the social engineering. And social engineering basically means hackers are trying to trick you to do something that you shouldn't.
Ali Abadi said that there's a shared responsibility from society to raise children to be responsible digital citizens with the ability to protect themselves and spot the risks that the internet may hold. Kai Garcia, BCIT News.
A leading Canadian climate scientist says a new report on global CO2 levels is the latest sign Canada must resist pressure to pull back on its climate commitments. The World Meteorological Association Organization's annual greenhouse gas bulletin says the CO2 growth rate has tripled since the 1960s, reflecting continued fossil fuel emissions and reductions in how much carbon is getting absorbed by forests and oceans. Concordia University climate scientist Damon Matthews says Canada must push back against U.S. President Donald Trump, who has assailed climate change as a con job, and urged global leaders to back off clean energy.
I mean, we have to resist that call to backslide on climate policy. That would be the worst long-term decision that we could make.
Today's bulletin says the likely reason for the record CO2 growth was large contributions from wildfire emissions and reduced uptake from the land and ocean in 2024. The hottest year on record was boosted by a strong El Niño climate pattern. Now, LA County officials have declared a state of emergency over ice raids taking place in the Los Angeles area. ABC's Alex Stone has the story.
LA County's Board of Supervisors voting to declare a state of emergency over the ice raids that have been carried out here. Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, among all but one supervisor, voting in support of declaring an emergency.
Workers have been kidnapped from job sites, and children have been coming home to empty dinner tables.
Declaring a state of emergency will allow for rent relief for those who have fallen behind on rent due to ice raids and could allow for other local and state aid. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Now, the U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Trump administration is treating federal workers as political pawns.
Last week, the Trump administration vindictively fired thousands of federal workers in a mistaken attempt to try and hurt the Democrats in this shutdown. Let's be very clear. Nobody forced the administration to do these firings. They did it because they wanted to, period. They did it on their own.
A federal judge in San Francisco has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from firing workers during the shutdown. The order was issued following layoff notices issued on Friday, which were aimed at reducing the size of the federal government. Now for sports, the Toronto Blue Jays have their back against the wall in the American League Championship Series after losing the first two games at home against the Seattle Mariners. Toronto Blue Jays fans are taking planes, boats, and automobiles to give their team some much-needed support against the Mariners in the American League Championship Series. Valerie Conrad and her grandchildren hope the Jays can win tonight.
We're due for the World Series.
I feel like
they're
going to get it.
They're going to get it?
Yeah. I feel like they're going to win.
Yeah, they're going to win. We feel like they're going to do something, aren't they? I think they're Canada's team. They're going to do us proud no matter what happens.
Regular season games in Seattle often have a home feel for the Jays, with fans in Western Canada making the trek across the border. We'll see if that rings true for the playoffs. Now for hockey, William Nylander had 3 points as the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Nashville Predators 7-4 last night. Nylander was called out by head coach Craig Berube following the team's 3-2 loss to Detroit on Monday, but he rebounded Tuesday night with 2 assists and an empty net goal. Nylander reflected on his team's performance.
We battled the full 60 and we're able to get a win on a lot of good efforts.
John Tavares and Oliver Ekman-Larsson also each had a goal and 2 assists for Toronto, and Austin Matthews scored twice. Now, Canada held 13th-ranked Colombia to a scoreless draw Tuesday night in a men's soccer friendly. Despite sharing honors with an elite opponent, Canada coach Jesse Marsh called it good performance by his 26th-ranked team, not a great one.
I told them, without trying to be a wise guy, I expect them against teams like this to be good, to be better on the day, and to win, right? And that's not a bad thing. I think they've built that expectation in themselves, and I've built that for them and with them.
Canada closes out the year with November friendlies against Ecuador and Venezuela. Now, the NFL is turning to artificial intelligence to help manage player health. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
The NFL has partnered with Amazon Web Services to use technology and AI to predict and prevent injuries. The digital athlete tool collects data from all 32 teams to help manage players' health. The tool has been available for 3 seasons and is praised for its comprehensive data. It helps teams adjust practice schedules and workloads to reduce injuries. While overall injuries have decreased, experts say it's hard to pinpoint a direct cause. The data also helps improve equipment like helmets to reduce concussions. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Manchester United blocked the sale of 4,500 tickets for last month's Premier League home game against Chelsea. The team said action was taken after determining that tickets were being purchased by account holders using automatic ticket purchasing bots, which would have prevented real club supporters from buying them. In addition to the 4,500 block sales, the club said another 2,000 were successfully reclaimed and put on the resale market. Now over for business. ABC's Mike Dubusky reports on the arguments from Delaware Supreme Court where they're hearing a case challenging how much Elon Musk gets paid.
Elon Musk's pay package was challenged by a Tesla shareholder in 2018 who argued the company's board violated its fiduciary duty by approving the multi-billion-dollar plan. The lawsuit also said Musk's relationship with members of the board may have unfairly influenced the size of the package. Lawyers for Musk say shareholders were fully informed when they voted to approve the plan, and now the Delaware Court of Chancery has to rule on questions about Musk's influence and how informed shareholders were. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Now, stocks are wavering with unsteady trading today as Wall Street contends with an escalating trade war and the latest profit reports from big banking and technology companies. The S&P 500 rose 0.3%, coming off a roller coaster day where it alternated between sharp losses and modest gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average held steady, gaining a modest 32 points, which is only the equivalent of 0.1%. The Nasdaq Composite saw a 0.6% gain. Technology stocks were among the heaviest weights, pulling the market between gains and losses. The sector is particularly sensitive to escalations in the trade conflict between the U.S. and China. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the U.S. was close to wrapping up a trade deal with South Korea, while talks with Canada were back on track. He said President Trump's good relationship with Chinese leader Xi Jinping should help stop U.S.-China trade tensions from spiraling. For your weather, it's expected to remain sunny for the rest of the day today. Tomorrow, you're going to expect to see a similar amount of sunshine with a high of around 14 degrees, but you're also going to see some cloud later. Those were your 1:30 p.m. news headlines. Join us again with Riley Cunningham at 2 o'clock for more. Joe McHugh, BCIT News.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
When I tell people that I studied journalism, they immediately say, oh, you want to be a reporter. But I think, in my case personally, I really want to go into magazines, PR, social media. And I think here at school we learn a lot of skills that allow you to go into that world because you learn how to write for social media, social content, for websites,